Being 7 o'clock, I'll entertain a motion to open.
Motion?
Second.
It's a meeting of the Acushnet Finance Committee, Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. And this meeting is being audio and video recorded. The first order of business this evening would be the reorganization of the Finance Committee. And at this point in time, I'd like to thank Dr. Boucher for chairing the committee for the past year during this pandemic season. I think Dr. Boucher did a remarkable job, and I think from this point on, I think that I would like to nominate Dr. Boucher to be the permanent chairman of the Finance Committee. In the event that this occasion comes to us again, this pandemic type of situation, Dr. Boucher will be up to speed, as he always is, and would be able to carry the committee forward.
Is that a motion, Bob?
I will make the motion
I will
to
second
nominate. Nomination. Any further nominations?
I would like to nominate you, Bob, as the vice chair.
Well, we'll take one at a time.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of Dr. Boucher assuming the role as chair of the Finance Committee?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations, Dr. Boucher.
Thank you.
You are now the chair of the Acushnet
Officially.
Finance Committee. Officially.
You'll be walking around with a title on your back.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so now we have to recognize a vice chair. So,
Do you want? I would nominate Bob St. Jean, vice chair.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's
thank you very
official.
much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and I think that's it. We're not doing like liaison committee assignments or anything like
I
that.
think that we should do that
Later
at
on.
a different
Okay.
meeting, because we're gonna have to set up the different committees, because we're gonna have,
Mhm.
you know, new
When the full
members.
committee's here? Oh, wait a second, it is.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Right.
All right, so next on the agenda, we have some reserve fund transfers. And Melanie is gonna go through those, and we'll vote on each one individually. I think there's a total of 12 of them. So we'll take we'll go from 1 through 12. So whenever you're ready, Mel.
Okay, and if you guys have questions between each one, just stop me, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, we are taking out of the Veterans Department, out of the Veterans Benefits, $15,761, and from the Planning Board clerical salaries, we're taking out $6,539 to go to the Town Council legal expenses totaling $22,300. And this is, we're due to increased, legal fees for PJ Heating. We will need another one next round for May and June, so this is just as of April
So there'll be more legal fees to cover.
in the next round,
Okay.
correct?
Do we know any idea how much or no? You don't know?
No, Julie will be we'll have May, but we won't have June's, so she'll have to call to get that amount before we get the invoice.
Okay.
Do you know offhand how much we're into this? How much legal fees we've spent so far?
We just looked it up last week. It's high. I can have that for you for next meeting, or shoot you guys an email. It's high. It's around $10,000 a month, just for PJ, so I'm guessing another 20,000, because this was just for 2 months.
Mhm.
So be prepared for that.
How's this
I'm
gonna
sorry?
affect?
178,000.
Thank you.
He's good, thank you.
What was that?
178?
On legal, and that doesn't mean it's all PJ, that's just what we've spent on legal expenses this year. Okay.
Overall, yeah.
Yes.
How's this gonna affect the VA benefits? I mean, I see going
Yeah,
down.
we were very fortunate, we actually even have more than that if we need it for next round. He's lost a lot, unfortunately,
Yeah.
so we have extra money in there. That's all, that was,
Okay, well, this, it's a bill that has to be paid.
yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, so,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
So the next one, will be coming from the assessors longevity line for $740, and also the assessors, but the salaries administrative assistant line for $2,200. And the last is council on aging, salaries van drivers of $808 to cover the assessors. It's going to do subscriptions and memberships, but this was due to, the assessors printer, is just not working anymore. That was $550. She's requesting to go to a couple of courses. And also, there's management consulting. She budgeted for the management consulting, but there were other fees like plot plans and the certification software expense that she lowered it last year, hoping that it would be lowered, but it was actually more than it was, so she overspent on other sides.
Mel, do you know what the courses are for?
I do not know. She's supposed to be turning those invoices in to me this week. Keep in mind though, the class does have to be this year, so if it's not this year, it cannot be paid. There's a lot of courses that are happening next fiscal year for this year, but unfortunately it has to be paid next fiscal year, so there'll probably be a lot of transfers next year with things not being paid this year by next year, so I'm not sure if that will actually even be needed. But if you wanna wait to approve that till next round, we can also do that if you wanna see what the course is for.
I just wish we had better visibility on what they related to and.
Yeah, in a perfect world, I have the invoice in hand, like for the copier, or at least a PO or something. The course I don't have
We
yet.
don't know what it is.
No. I believe it's their annual, like normally spring conference that they have, like every department, like treasurer will have one and accounting will have one. Mine's is until September, so I can't do it this year. So I believe that's what it is.
So Sue, we're gonna have one more meeting before July 15th. So if you wanna wait until we can get more information on that prior to that, as far as what it's specifically for, we can hold off on it
Yeah.
if you're comfortable doing that, if you wanna do that.
Yeah, I would feel better if we had better visibility on kind of what it's for before we go ahead and just approve it.
So
Put a hold on that.
we'll put it, yeah, we're gonna hold that one.
The whole thing or just the courses? Are you okay with the printer and the management consulting?
So is it broken down into?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
549 is for the printer, and
Yeah.
3,125 is for the management consulting.
Alright, so that's more of an immediate need?
Yeah,
Alright, so,
The management definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like it's already been incurred, so.
Management is absolutely, I don't know
alright,
if
so
we don't.
let's take the vote on that, and we'll just hold off on the courses until
Okay.
next month. So I'll make a motion to approve the printer and the management
Okay.
consulting.
Second.
All in favor?
I-
Nobody's opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, the third one will be coming from the assessors longevity line totaling $60 to the assessors salary overtime for $60. What happened was, last year when we created the budget, we had Tuesday nights late in the town hall, and assessors have their meetings normally on Tuesday nights, so they took out overtime, saying we wouldn't need overtime budget since we'll be here till 7, and that got changed. So due to that, she just incurred, some overtime for our Tuesday night meetings. And that person is clerical, so she gets paid all of it.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All in favor? Nobody's opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, number 4 is coming from the Veterans Department Veterans Benefits account line for $5,685 for the Register of Voters Salaries Temporary line for $5,685. This was due to COVID restrictions. We needed a lot more staff due to the COVID restrictions. The town clerk, Pam, did apply for grants. We just don't know if we're gonna get them this year or next year. But what happens if we get them this year? We won't do the transfer, but if it comes next year, it's gonna go to general fund anyway. So either way, she's definitely getting it. We just can't predict when everything's so behind.
If they get that money, can they go be transferred back to the veterans?
The veterans doesn't need the money, it would just go to general fund. The Veterans Department have a abundance of money this year because unfortunately, they lost members, veterans in the town. So they have a lot this year. I spoke to Ron about it.
So it's not gonna negatively impact
No.
anyone? Fine. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
The next one also have veterans. Keep in mind that the veterans is a general fund too, so it's not like it's money that rolls over. If he doesn't use it, it would go to general fund anyway. Okay. The fifth one is Veterans Department, veterans benefits for $1,316. The street lights, energy line for $5,500, and selectmen salaries clerical for $3,588. And that's going to town meetings and elections. That's also due to COVID restrictions, but they also had they had the mail-in elections and the early voting, so that really affected them all due to COVID. But that, she also applied for a grant, but we can't guarantee when it's gonna be here.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes.
Okay, number 6 is the soil board, salaries clerical for $423, and the town accountant line for salaries town accountant $485, to the Board of Appeals, salaries clerical of $908. And this is, there's a lot more projects ongoing in the town, so they just need a little bit extra for their secretary.
And this is for time incurred or time to get us through the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year?
This is it, they've already did it unfortunately, and they have no more coming up for the year.
Okay. So we owe it, so I'll make the
Yeah.
motion.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, number 7, there's several on this one's pensions, Bristol County retirement of $3,025, Council on Aging, salaries van drivers of $6,115, Conservation Commission, stormwater MS4 permit of $8,500, Planning Board town planner $4,000, and this is going to miscellaneous compensated balances totaling $21,604. The majority of this is due to a long-term employee leaving, and they incur a lot of sick time and vacation. We did this is over than what we are now, because we know at the end of the year, a lot of union employees will buy back sick time and all that, so we don't wanna have to do another round, we'd rather just cover that already. So keep that in mind, we won't have to do another round for it.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Number 8, we'll have Council on Aging, salaries van drivers of $5,370, pensions, Bristol County retirement of $4,172, soil board, salaries clerical of $458. That's going to the technology telephone line, totaling $10,000. I did over budget on this one because technology will have a lot more coming in. This is also due to a lot of COVID-related unexpected costs of new phones and jacks and licenses, equipment. Some of it was covered by CARES, but some of it, we had a new board, we're setting up a room for planning. Town planning never had an office, so we have to do things like that. Collector is updating their office because they're getting now a separate office. So it's some CARES, but not all. It's a lot of incurred fees. But I upped it a few $1,000s, knowing there's still a lot of invoices. We still might need one in a second round though.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Number 9 will be CMAS trash recycling hauling for $3,500, and it's going to CMAS salaries permanent positions of $3,500. This is due to the recycling center being open Saturdays and longer hours.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
veterans again, veterans benefits of $5,470 going to town building salaries temporary of $5,470. This is due to staff hours were utilized more during the year due to COVID. Staff were also able to help town projects into the holiday season. We have high school kids that help, and we had a lot of projects throughout the year to try to help morale throughout the town during the holidays. So that's what that is for. And that will cover us through the year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Number 11 is planning board from salaries clerical of $800 going to planning board communications and advertising. They needed more advertising due to all the solar projects. And again, this was extra knowing that we'll have, at that time, we still had a couple more coming.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
The last one is the town accountant salaries, town accountant line of $299 for the town accountant professional technical line, for $299. This class is for, kind of all around COVID cares, FEMA training, year-end training, Schedule A training, and it's kind of do as you go course throughout the month of June. That's starting tomorrow. So it's not starting yet, but it's kind of go as you go, so it's nice that there's no schedule.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you, Mel, for doing that.
Do you know why the veterans have so much money hanging around in their budget?
I did speak to Ron.
It's like 28 grand.
Yeah, as of the last time I checked, he has 55,000. I've been doing cares for the past week, so there's a lot of numbers in my head, so I apologize. Myself and Nick, we've been really pumping that out. But I last time I looked, we had $55,000 left in there. And I think, say he uses maybe like, being generous, I think it was like $12,000 a month. So he had a good $40,000 left. He just said that people have,
How many people have we lost?
I think when I was doing when I was the clerical, we had like 26. But I don't know what number, I know the exact number right now. But I also think that there hasn't been as many medical fees incurred because people aren't doing as much, because that's what we do, we reimburse for that. So I think that's all kind of decreased a little bit too. I didn't think it was gonna be this dramatic. That's why he level budgeted for next year, knowing that this might continue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda is old business. Does anybody have any old business that they'd want to discuss? Okay, next would be new business. So under new business, I'm gonna give Sue an opportunity to address the committee and to whoever's out there listening to our meeting tonight, to just say a few things with regards to, this past budget season. So Sue, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I guess one of the things I just wanted to talk to the group is obviously the town meeting. And, I left the town meeting very discouraged, very saddened. I don't know, quite a few sleepless nights. And I felt like I was personally targeted as a villain, for trying to level fund the school. And, originally, when I saw some of the Facebook posts, and I had someone actually sent me one of the Facebook posts, and it literally said something about finance committee has decided to level fund the school budget, and what does that mean for our kids? Obviously costs go up, okay, every year. And I thought, okay, this is a misunderstanding, because we all sat at that meeting and costs didn't go up. Some costs went up, significant costs went down. Overall, we had a drop. And I thought to myself, this is a misunderstanding, which will explain what happened, will explain obviously the timing of everything, of when we found out information, when we got all the detail about the amount of cash that the amount of cash that the town would receive from state aid, all of these very significant moving pieces that we didn't find out until the last minute, right? And then you go into the town meeting and that same message is just continuously reinforced with, you know, that the increases. You know, I'm looking here because I actually wrote some of this down because I can't, I'm still trying to understand it, right? I'm struggling with the math. The end of the day, I'm struggling with the math. How can somebody say that we're going to take away services from our students, from our kids, from this town? How are we gonna take away services, but yet you have a significant drop of $525,000 from one of your expenses? Where are you gonna put that extra $525,000 you're not gonna spend in tuition if it's not gonna go back to services for the kids? So the math is not making sense to me, okay? And I know somebody came to town meeting and said, well, I'm an accountant. Well, you know something, so am I. You know, I am too. I have 2 degrees, I'm a CPA. And this is math I didn't learn in school. If you're trying to tell me that I'm still taking away services from the kids, if my expenses, a significant expense, dropped by $525,000. My salary increases are not even half of that. Curriculum, yes, we need a curriculum. All of that would have been covered with that $525,000 drop. And like we explained, it wasn't that we wanted to keep everything away, but you gotta understand, we have a finite window of time in which to operate. And this is our role. I thought this was our role of the finance committee, is to help kind of oversee where the money goes. And when you've got a department that, in all honesty, we had just found out had a surplus, have all this CARES money, and now they want all this other, you know, these additional funds. I didn't think it was unreasonable for the finance committee, who's supposed to help oversee the budget for the town. I didn't think it was a far request. And then to leave that meeting feeling like I have a X on my back was not a good feeling, when the whole reason for me spending all of this time, you know, mind you, I left that finance committee meeting and went home and did work for 4 hours. I much have preferred, I should have just stayed in my office working instead of feeling the way I felt when I left that meeting. You know, this is the part I don't understand, okay? You know, Dr. Bailey surveying the other 77 towns, well, that's all well and good, but all of the information needs to be shared. Did all of those other 77 communities have $500,000 drop in an expense? The information needs to be applicable here. That's, if they had a drop, okay, then there's an apples to apples. But comparing apples and oranges and throwing at a town meeting, you know, I don't know that that's helpful. And I'll be honest with everybody here, and I've had some conversations, I was done, and I was going to leave because I hated that feeling. I'm not here, I'm not political, I'm not a political person, I'm here to try and do good for the town. I like my town, love my town, I love this, I want a good school, my kids are in the school, okay? Like, I have the same goals as everybody else on this committee has. Okay, we're all striving to do the same thing, but now I feel like alienated, okay? And I say I was gonna quit because I was. I told Bob, I told Mike, I told Julie, I was done. I was not gonna live like this anymore. But you know something, then I thought of it. I'm like, if I leave now, this isn't the right time for me to leave either. So you guys are stuck with me for at least another year.
Thank
know?
goodness.
Well, Sue, thank you for all that, and we're so glad that you're gonna stay on the committee, because to be honest with you, I think you're probably the most valuable member of this committee. With your knowledge, your background as a CPA, it's invaluable to what we do analyzing these budgets. So I'm gonna address our committee, and I'm addressing everybody that's out there watching our meeting, if there's anybody out there watching the meetings. Just so everybody knows, our job as a finance committee, we are the fiscal watchdog in this town, which means that we look at all these budgets, we analyze them, and we make recommendations on them just based on numbers, and that's it. We don't take, there's no personal effects taken into account, none of that. It's just we look at numbers and that's how we analyze these budgets. So, obviously, I wasn't at the town meeting, I was away, but I had a chance to watch the town meeting, and when I watched it, I was kind of disgusted and frankly just pissed that our committee was attacked and vilified unjustly, in my opinion, especially Sue, who gave a great explanation of why we made the recommendation that we did, and it was all based on numbers. And then to see school committee members attacking Sue and just the committee in general, I was like, this is out of control. And to have comments made that it's a battle every year for the school with the finance committee. No, it isn't. It's not a battle every year. I've been doing this 15 years, and over the past 15 years, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but off the top of my head, the budget increase for the school is probably anywhere from 2 to 5% on average. And that's a decent amount of money when you're considering their overall budget. And has there been give and take over the years? Yes, the school has helped out and lowered their number, helped us out, helped the finance committee out, helped the town out. Unfortunately, not every department can get everything they want all the time. There are years where the DPW doesn't get everything they want, the police department. It works out, that sometimes that's how it works out. And to watch this meeting, and I don't expect the Board of Selectmen to support all our recommendations, but what I would have liked to seen was a little acknowledgement of what a difficult task we had, especially this past year. And maybe explain to the residents, look, the finance committee just looks at numbers. It's not personal, they just analyze the numbers, and this is what they have to do. So don't take it out on them. But apparently, this past year, we were the bullseye because of what we did. And my son went through the school system here, and I'm forever grateful for all the services he received. And of course I want to have a good school system in our town because it benefits all of us. And Sue can attest to that because she has children in the school system now. So why would she want to hurt the school system when she has kids going there? It makes no sense at all. So just, an acknowledgement of what a difficult task we had this year would have been nice to see from the board. Going forward, I think, some of these committees, especially our committee, we've struggled over the past several years to have a full complement of members because it's not an easy committee to be on. We have to make difficult decisions, and when you're talking about making decisions that involve money that can affect individuals, sometimes it's not going to be taken in a good way. So I just think that we're gonna need, going forward, the town, the board's gonna need to try and get more volunteers to volunteer for these committees, because for people out there watching this, I don't know if anybody's aware of it, we don't get compensated here. There's no benefits for this. We volunteer our time to the town to do this. I mean, we could all be doing something else. I mean, I have a busy career myself. I know Sue does. Eric, he commutes back and forth to Boston. He travels, I don't know how many hours a day. We have other members here who are retired and would probably like to do other things with their time, but they're not. They're volunteering their time here for the town. So we have the town's best interest in its entirety, not just one department. We have to take the whole interest of the town into consideration when we make a lot of decisions that we do. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but this is what we're tasked to do. Thankfully, Sue's going to stay on board. Hopefully, for as long as she can. And I've expressed to Bob already about myself, because I've been doing this 15 years, that I may need a break at some point, but I'm not going to leave the committee at this time. because I just don't feel right about leaving the committee. You know, I don't wanna leave the committee shorthanded when we don't have, potential members coming in, to serve, because, you know, the town needs a finance committee, or so I thought. I felt like our committee was somewhat irrelevant this past year, with the way things went at the town meeting. But hopefully that's not the case going forward. And, you know, we have to learn to work together, as a whole, which I think we've done in the past. And, you know, there'll have to be some changes that are made, and, you know, to make things better, you know, hopefully next year. So, you know, we don't have this contentiousness that occurred like it did at the town meeting. And, you know, our recommendations, you know, not everybody's gonna be happy with the recommendations. And if a particular department isn't, they still have the opportunity to present their case to the town members at the town meeting. And if they make a good case, then they'll ultimately get what they want in their budget. At the end of the day, they have to work a little harder for it in that situation, yes. But that's what happens. But, you know, for this committee to be attacked, I didn't like it, and I don't want to see it happen again. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a couple of comments myself, if I may. At the beginning of every budget season, the Board of Selectmen outlined an agenda that they'd like to follow. It's such as setting either a zero-based budget for departments under their jurisdiction, or a 1.5%, you know, increase in the budgets. Whatever it is, they normally set at least the tone for us to guide our decisions and recommendations for the town meeting. In the beginning of this budget season, it was my understanding that they had recommended either a level-based budget or a maximum of 1.5% increase where it was justified. The committee followed those guidelines, you know, pretty well, and made some department heads a little uneasy, and made some of the town employees, you know, a little uneasy. But at least the committee followed their general outline. And then comes the town meeting, when the school department gets up and, you know, presents an increase of 2+% of their total budget. The Board of Selectmen remained silent, which was astonishing to me, that they did not, you know, at least support the committee and at least explain that the committee was following their recommendations or guidance from the beginning of the budget season. But that being said, every department or every entity within the town has the opportunity to go to the town meeting and stack the town meeting if they want. And if every department who was, you know, unhappy with our recommendations stacked the town meeting, the finances of this community would collapse. So we cannot operate, you know, under that type of a system. And that's not what the system or the open town meeting system is about. The open town meeting system was a balance of fairness between all of the different departments and all the different recommendations. But if you're gonna take, and you know, it happened this year with the school committee, but we cannot operate with that type of a situation. So I think that or I'm just gonna throw this out for a recommendation that the town perhaps should start looking at a representative town meeting, where each district or precinct elects a representative to represent their district or precinct at the town meeting, similar to what Fairhaven has. So that everybody has the opportunity to have equal representation at the town meeting. And the ability to stack a town meeting is thereby eliminated. It would take a charter change, I believe, but I think it's something that that this board ought to recommend to the Board of Selectmen to at least investigate that possibility.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Bob.
Those are my thoughts. I mean, I was upset at the town meeting as well, but.
Well, you were exactly
it's
right
just-
about, the stacking of the meeting for, any particular department have the ability to do that. It's gonna drain the resources of the town. And we could get to the point where, we're looking to do an override. So then we have to ask residents to pay more in their taxes. I do not wanna do that, and I will never do that as long as I'm here on this committee. We have to live within our means and within the constraints of Proposition 2.5, and that's it. The property taxes go up a little bit every year within Proposition 2.5, and that's it. No overrides. I mean, God forbid, unless there was something catastrophic that happened, but, we already went through that. I don't think we're gonna go through anything worse than we just experienced over the last year and a half. So I totally agree with that, and I think we should definitely explore that. Because I do not wanna see residents who already live on a fixed income, and we have a lot of older folks in this town. And if you're gonna tell them, oh yeah, you have to pay more in property taxes, that's not gonna fly, and that's not right, and it shouldn't happen. So, something's gotta be done within the constraints of, what we can do with town meeting. I totally agree with that.
And I think part of the thing that concerned me the most was continuing to make sure that, okay, we were in an extremely unusual year, right? With the cash and the surpluses that are happening, this was all COVID related, right? There's money coming in from every which way in the government. That is not sustainable, right? And that's one of the things, not just looking at today's snapshot, but thinking, a couple of years ahead, at least that's how, when I sit here, I think about those things, right? I try and ask questions, so we're planning already for the tomorrows as well, because it isn't just today. We have to think about what will happen tomorrow, right? And I can't help but think about, Chief Gallagher, where he talked about the breathing apparatuses, and he's gonna go for a grant, but if he doesn't get it, guess what's gonna happen? The town has to pay $250,000. Because I don't think any of us sitting on this table are ever gonna say, sorry guys, you're gonna go into a fire with equipment that might fail you. That ain't gonna happen.
Right.
But how are we gonna pay for it? That's the kind of things that I sit here and I think about. It's not just today, it's a little bit of tomorrow. I'm not saying I gotta think 50 years down the road, but it's not just today.
I totally agree with that. And, as a town, we have to not worry about so much what other towns are doing, but worry about what we're doing here. If we're gonna be a little extra fiscally prudent and conservative, so be it. I think it's good to be that way. In case there's another emergency down the road and you don't have all that government money pouring in, because that may not happen again.
We
So
hope it
have to-
doesn't happen again.
Certainly, I hope it doesn't. But we have to safeguard ourselves and, make sure we have enough put away for a rainy day, no matter what. And that's the bottom line. That's what our job is, the finance committee, is to make sure that we're in a good spot to cover everything. And that's it.
Mr. Chairman,
I'd like to welcome our former member, Mr. Howcroft, Mr. John Howcroft. He's here, and I know you'd like to address the committee, so you go right ahead.
Right, I agree with everything that has been said previously, so I don't want to totally, repeat. But being on the finance committee years ago for how many
John,
years?
could you get up at the podium?
Oh, sure.
I'm having a little tough time here.
Since I've been off the finance committee, by the way, my hair is getting browner instead of clearer.
And you got more of it.
So it's coming back. Whatever.
Well, it's not helping us.
We're at a disadvantage here.
I'm sure part of that had something to do with me transferring to another committee from the Finance Committee. But that's a private, Mr. Chair had a lot to do with that, but.
I'm the vice chair. Dr. Boucher is now the chair.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. I was not surprised that some of that event took place at the town meeting. It's been an accident waiting to happen, and I've seen it, progressing to this point. And now maybe it's an opportunity for others to start saying we got to reverse this trend. I've seen a growing trend of the Board of Selectmen relegating the Finance Committee basically to an advisory board rather than the real Finance Committee that existed in this town for maybe 100 years. I'll give you one glaring example: the seating arrangement at the town meeting. Under the charter of the town town meeting, especially when Article 1 is being taken up, it is the Finance Committee's meeting with the town meeting members. Okay? The Finance Committee is a recommending body for the passage of allocation of the funds. The town meeting members are the legislators, basically, and that's, over the years, you find that finally the Finance Committee was sitting on the floor, on the stage where the authority of the town is being carried to the town meeting members as far as information, recommendations and so forth, of people who are even opposed to the Finance Committee's recommendation. So I would question even sometimes whether that setup is even illegal as far as with the traditions of a town meeting, the type of town meetings that we have in Acushnet. So therefore, all of those on the stage supposedly speaking with authority have nothing to do with the budget. It is the Finance Committee's budget that's being presented to the people for approval or disapproval, or for modifications. So therefore, I think the first reform is get the politicians off the stage and have the people themselves, presenting the budget with all the facts, so the town meeting members can make rational and progressive type of votes. So I think that is, I've seen time and time again. The Board of Selectmen has no business telling the Finance Committee whether they should level fund or not. That's the Finance Committee's role, to decide with all the facts that come in, with all the with the state aid, with local receipts and all that, putting that together to say, do we have enough money to carry on with the budget, and then meet some of the other articles. Secondly of all, reform is reform. The previous town meeting should have been what happened at that town meeting should have been a warning signal. You had you're having special interest groups come in, and basically they're after the Department of Public Works budget, because basically they have their own private businesses, and basically they don't want to see the public business work. They want the town to subcontract for sewer, water, and road work rather than the town do it, even though the town does it more efficiently and more cost effective. No, it's basically they have a motive, and it just takes a group come in, and what it did is slowed down the Department of Public Works for a year in the work that they needed to be done. So I think that I think this is a crucial, I think also an open town meeting. It's just, I agree, totally agree that should we look at a representative town meeting where people who are elected and therefore can act responsibly rather than just coming in and saying, all you people sitting on the floor in front of me are, bad guys, and then you got a group of people saying, yeah, I agree with you. They're supposed to be speaking from authority. I mean, it's a crazy system, and we're fortunate that something far dramatic did not take place. We're just fortunate, but we may not be fortunate in the future. And it's going to just take a handful of people just to blow the budget right, and we're going to be headed, as you said, to either to 2.5 override or whatever have you, because. You're right, Sue. These funds are not going to be sustained. Are not going to be. The state aid is going to stay level because of the changing demographics in this town. So therefore, we have to rely upon our local receipts. Well, with the cost of living going up, and meeting costs. Sooner or later, you're going to reach that juncture whether you're going to make dramatic cuts, or you're going to have to, do an override. That's simple. I said this in the beginning. When we started the budget session. So anyway, I just want to say I'm going to regret. I know I spoke. I hope I've not got people too upset. I'm going to regret leaving you folks. The fight is not over. The first thing they asked me, the superintendent asked me, why are you on the finance, why are you on the school committee? And basically I say, I want to see the changes that you want to make sustained in the future, rather than, so we can make the progress that you want to indicate you want to make, but it's going to be sustained, and that's basically economic, fiscal responsibility. And so I tell you, I'm going to miss. I'll probably be coming. I might be a liaison of some sort or a self-appointed. But I will be coming to your meetings. But anyway, so
Mr.
I don't know.
Howcroft, thank you for your time donated to our finance committee. I think you're a valuable member. You offered a lot of insight and experience because you've been involved in the town for many years. So you're just a wealth of knowledge. And I appreciate everything you've had to offer to us, and look forward to working with you now that you're on the school committee as well.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, John.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
miss you,
I'll
John.
second it.
And congratulations.
That was a congratulatory look.
Probably need to watchdog.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have some meeting minutes to approve, 2 sets. The first one is from March 31st, 2021. That was one of our remote meetings. In attendance was myself, Sue, Bob Ferrera, Mr. Howcroft was in attendance, and Gail Rodricks was in attendance for that meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The next set of minutes was from April 7th, another remote meeting. In attendance, Mr. St. Jean, myself, Sue, Bob Ferrera, John Howcroft, and Gail Rodricks.
Did you send those minutes out?
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. All right, so we have minutes approved. Next thing we have to discuss is our next meeting date. And we were talking with Mel about this earlier. So we have to get one more meeting in before the end of the fiscal year. So the fiscal year ends July 15th, is that correct?
The fiscal year is June 30th,
Oh, June
but we
30th.
have till July 15th to approve any transfers.
All right, so the transfers, so we have to get this done before the 15th, so we're looking at a date of July, was it 14th?
Wednesday, July 14th.
July 14th. Is everybody,
I will-
you're not gonna be here?
I will not be there.
Okay. Gail, will you be around?
I believe I am.
Bob?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Bob? All right, I will be around, so that's 4. Eric?
I'm hoping to be.
Okay, so he would be the 5th, so that would, we would just make it for a quorum. But if something comes up and one of us can't be here, then we're not gonna have a quorum. That's how
It's-
shorthanded we are.
You're testing me now, so.
That's how shorthanded we are on the finance committee.
So in that case, what would happen, because we need that to approve them.
Right.
So would we postpone it to the 15th?
The chairman can always declare a quorum.
We can, even if we don't have the specific set number.
You can declare a quorum. And if anybody is aggrieved by any decisions that are made, then those decisions would have to be revoted.
Okay.
Quorum is available.
All right, so I guess.
Keep in mind, majority of them are done in this round. There's not gonna be very many.
There's not gonna be too many, okay.
No.
All right, so we should be in good shape then.
And Eric will be here.
I'll call in, we'll zoom in.
Yeah.
We'll make
I was
sure-
gonna, if worst comes to worst, I can
We're gonna just have to.
do a video call.
You're gonna have to get pulled off the crane earlier, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay?
If that came down to it, he could zoom you in and have you on the screen if needed or wanted.
Well, that was the whole point that we did for the remote, when we
Right.
Yeah.
worked that whole issue for something like this.
I'll be on the beach in St. Lucia, but I'll have
Nice. Or maybe we could have,
So
just
we
have
carry
Ralph come
next
back
one?
as an emergency fill-in.
You could be an alternate.
Yes.
An emergency alternate.
As long as I'm not a voting member.
All right, so is everyone's okay with the July 14th date?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so that'll be the plan, to set the next meeting for that date. Okay, Kathy? All right, if there's no other business to discuss tonight?
Just a follow-up,
One more
Mr.
thing.
Chairman. On the suggestion or recommendation or the dialogue with respect to the open town meeting and in the representative town meeting, perhaps we could ask Kathy to draft a letter to the board of Selectmen, making that suggestion, or at least what was discussed at this meeting, and perhaps they would entertain a joint meeting, or
I think we probably have to.
inviting the board to one of their meetings, or we could invite them to one of our, but just as a follow-up, so that it just doesn't, die,
Yeah.
right here.
But do we know how many other communities have that representative?
I don't know offhand, I know
Fairhaven
Fairhaven does,
does.
Yeah, Fairhaven does.
Yeah, they have town meeting representatives.
Yeah.
I think that's.
It works well,
Actually, a
because-
fair way to do it.
From what I've, done a little bit of, made some inquiries to some Fairhaven town meeting members, and they feel that it's a lot more efficient, because the members that attend the town meeting are informed. They're informed because they want to be informed, because they're informed about the finances and what the value of their vote is, one way or the other, or how it would affect one department as opposed to another. So you have a more educated, or more, not educated, more informed vote at the representative town meeting.
The way we do it in this town is whatever department has an agenda usually floods the town,
And
the
that's
town
not,
meeting.
and that's not fair to all the other
And-
departments.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a fair way of doing it.
It's not sustainable. It just, we just can't keep
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah, totally agree.
So
Especially
I don't know
when
if you wanna
look at
vote on
recount.
that letter,
Make a
or
motion for that?
I'll make a motion that Kathy.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I think just one question, I guess, because I'm not sure where we stand here, but Old Colony, again, our kids too, let's not forget. Where do we stand there? I know there's been some discussions about needing to do some sort of expansion or something there, right? That's still moving forward, and but still in the preliminary stages, so we don't know what that'll mean for the town bottom line.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can answer that. They presented a application, for funding for, for expansion, and it was turned down. So they're gonna reapply.
It was turned down by who, sorry, John?
The State Vocational Board,
Okay,
they're the ones that approve, because would be, a lot of the construction costs would be state funded as well as local, through bonding, with the 5, or 4 participating people, communities.
right.
Do you know why it was declined?
Yes, because of, we have a lower number of students in the district. Okay, it so therefore does not push this, this area up to a higher priority. When, Freetown was was a tuition.
Yeah.
They in turn went to another community and regionalized with them.
Right.
So we lost that number. So which had Freetown voted to go with Old Colony, we would have had sufficient numbers in order to move up on the list and to be approved for expansion. There's a great need for expansion, so now maybe as more funds are allocated, and federal funds, so if they work out how federal funds will be spent, whether some will go into vocational boards for expansion, and then turn maybe we will reach that point where they say, okay, let's go ahead with it. But I spoke to Mr. Polanski or Dr. Polanski at the town meeting, and that's what he said he was going to reapply. Because I served on that budget committee, which I'm going to miss too.
Thank you for adding that, John.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.